in regards to that, and I would rather have the approval of the board before I did such.
Okay, well, that sounds like a motion needed to me. So I would entertain a motion that to write a letter to Representative Sheila Harrington in reference to the transfer of the Dudley Road property Other than that, was there anything else you wanted to?
No, just to see how you're all doing. I don't have. I feel like I was talking to Chad's about it yesterday, but I feel like I've taken on a career lately, and that is getting vaccination. Trying to get a vaccination site out here. So it's sort of taken up quite a bit of time, but we're hoping, and it's going to be in Pepper. The phone that just rang was from somebody who's working on that. A hybrid between Pepper and Devon's, because we're hoping to serve all the way out to like Gardner and Winchendon, but the hotels in Devon's were going to host it, and they of course want to make money, it's business, and they didn't want to commit for the long haul. So somebody in Pepperell who I don't know if you guys know of Maisie Bio Services in Pepperell, but that their function is that they do temperature controlled clinical trials and storage for biopharma.
Wow.
So they actually have 20 freezers that could hold the Pfizer vaccine.
Wow.
And 150 that can hold the Moderna. Yeah. So
Wow.
they're really equipped, and they building that they're not using had offered that up as a distribution site. So we're trying to work it now, because it's not as convenient if you're out in Winchendon and Gardner, but it would help us.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it would help Westford, Littleton, Groton, Pepperell, Townsend, Ashby, Devon's,
the Board of Health, then we should really start thinking about getting some housing in here.
Yeah.
We have no listings. There's no listings for sale.
And there's no rentals.
No, I have a couple, but I'll tell you that those couple, the owners are being very picky, very, very picky, and they're entitled to.
Right.
Because there's just so many applicants out there, they don't want to be saddled with just anybody.
Right.
And it's sad because there are people that do need help, but it's, and Joan, I guess, I don't know if you'll have any reports for us on how that's going, but I still don't know anyone that's gotten any money for rental assistance. We have more reports.
A lot of Joan's help to be able to find out what's going on. Joan, do you have any updates on any of the numbers that we have for the fuel assistance right now?
Well, this is what I can tell you about fuel assistance. So, we got that grant it was awarded in July of 18. $26,250 of the $800,000 grant was supposed to be for fuel assistance. Now that was,
We're going at 26,000 out of 800.
Huh?
yeah,
Sorry.
26,250. But then we didn't have a grant administrator until June of 2019. Okay, so if you're gonna do fuel assistance, you have to start in July of 2019 to get ready for the fall season of 2019. So apparently no one did, nothing happened, zero money spent. As of today, zero money given in fuel assistance from that grant. I did have some email correspondence with the town administrator. This is what I do know. In order for a town resident to get the CDBG fuel assistance, they first have to go through the farm workers, New England Farm Workers Council, and max out their benefit there. Then they can come to us for the CDBG. New England Farm Workers, they do 60% of Massachusetts median income. CDBG does 80% of Middlesex County AMI, but they're very, very similar. They're only like $3,000 difference in those AMIs. So you get a better deal in Townsend than you do through farm workers. The problem with farm workers benefits only $450, by the way. So here's a problem. If you go to farm workers, the only way you can get to them is to fill out the application. You know how long that takes, right? You fill out the app and then you wait and you wait and then you wait some more. And the fuel assistance season ends April 30th. So apparently the farm workers has 40 plus Townsend families that have maxed out their benefits. And I did write that if someone has maxed out their benefit with farm workers or has a denial letter, because they made too much money, right? They should be able to just take that proof of maxing out their benefits or their denial letter and bring it right to Townsend, and we go fill up their tank, right? After it goes through COG, I'm assuming, right? But no one, even though I was invited to reach out myself to farm workers, apparently no one from the grant management company that we're using for the CDBG has been successful in implementing a quick path to the fuel assistance.
So,
Our fuel assistance, our CDBG.
right. So we have money that is needing to be distributed, but we have no way of getting to that money because of because of what?
Because nothing ever happened about it until
December when we found it.
when I started
Who
talking.
would be who would you have to go through to get it out though? Who, like the selectmen? Or?
Well, let's say I, Joan Savoy, had gotten fuel assistance from New England Farm Workers. I maxed out my $450 benefit, and I had a letter saying I had maxed out my benefit. Technically, I should be able to now go to the Community Opportunities Group, who manages our town's CDB fiscal year 18 CDBG grant, and say, all right, here's my proof, I've maxed out. And then they come and just fill up your tank. That's would be out of the $26,250.
Well, who would that person be in Townsend who manages it?
That's a question. Well, if you call anyone in Townsend, they're going to tell you to Mr. Kreidler is overseeing the grant, and he has been, but he will refer you to Community Opportunities Grant Company, Community Opportunities Group, which is Wayne Dara is the director, and the local town rep is Diane Hansen.
So that is the managing organization for the CBDG grant, Sheila.
Okay.
See, Sheila, we were originally supposed to have MRPC as our grant manager. They applied for the grant for us, but
Yeah.
they had to drop out as grant manager because the Department of Housing and Community Development kind of wouldn't let them do grant management for a year because there was a few questionable,
Okay.
something happened.
Where is Community Opportunities Group?
Boston.
So MRPC would have been so much easier to work with.
Correct.
So, okay, let me look into that, how we can expedite that, because I'm sure there are people that need that money.
Oh, absolutely.
Are people going to the town hall saying, can I have some of the fuel assistance money, and they're not getting it?
No one knows it exists. No one knew this grant
We
existed.
we have two avenues, Sheila, that we developed. We got the selectmen involved in this. Selectmen are looking for a process. We're looking for one person within town hall to be able to parse out who goes to what because of what's going on. And right now it's an administrative nightmare. My understanding and Joan's understanding, and we could be wrong, but I don't really think we're wrong in this, is that the townsperson should be able to go get fuel because of the denial letter. Once they show that they have been accepted for it, they should be able to get it, and they should be able to submit that to COG, and COG should pay for it.
Yeah, but I guess I'm trying to think though. The money is in where?
The money is part of the $800,000 CDBG grant we were awarded. We do not have the money. It is reimbursed to the town as the town spends it.
Okay,
So
so the town has to put the money out first for fuel assistance and then get reimbursed?
That's how it's supposed to work. Yes.
So where would the town come up with the money to do it? The town doesn't have an extra 800,000 lying around to use.
No. At like every $50,000 or whatever they're out, they send a reimbursement chit in to the CDBG.
So it should be able to be managed locally.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. You should be able to go get the money and then they send it in and they deal with COG.
Correct.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
But nobody knows they can even do that.
The town administrator, there was a grant that it's in the town administrator's hands. Let's put it that way. And nothing's been done on it. And it's still, nothing's being.
And the problem, Sheila, at this late date is April 30th, the fuel, window closes. And what's this? This is almost March.
Yeah.
In 2 years that we've had,
Right.
this 26,000 for fuel assistance that we haven't spent.
Unbelievable.
I'd like to make a point of clarification here. When you mentioned, Joan, if somebody needed it, we'd go and fill their tank. But fuel assistance could be electric, gas, or oil, or propane. Because people use all of those forms of utilities for their heat.
Right. I will tell you honestly, I do not know the range of the CDBG grant. They actually, in the budget, it's called social services. It's not even called fuel assistance. And the only discussions I've had with COG early on, when I was talking about it, because I said, did you contract with a vendor to get the best price? And she goes, oh, no, people just use whoever they're using and they just call up and have it filled and give us the bill. So, but, the part about electric and all that stuff didn't even come up. So,
But that
that's
should
one
be
piece
looked
I can't
into.
answer.
Because you're discriminating. And
Would it make sense to get maybe, so I have to take a sip of my seltzer, but it's going to look like I have a wine glass full. Would it make sense to potentially get Jim Kreidler and, to come to a Zoom meeting and someone from COG to say, this is how other towns are getting this through quick, you know what I mean? There's got to be a way that we can make it public and implement it and streamline it, I would think.
We've had a selectmen's meeting where this has been discussed 3 times.
Sheila, and of the $800,000 contract that COG is the grant manager for, their $160,000 goes to them. So for that kind of dough,
This should be running well.
What is unusual, what I can't quite understand is if you go on their webpage, it says they're handling over $1 million in CDBG grants statewide. And I'm like, well, then this should not be their first rodeo, but it seems to be a foreign thing.
Well, this is almost $1 million right there, though, 800,000.
Yeah.
So if the rest of the state's only doing 200. It doesn't really make sense. I mean, they should be able to, they're getting paid to do it. They should be able to come to a meeting, explain it so that, that the public can know and it can work more efficiently. I'm sorry, what'd you say?
It says 4 million on there.
Thank you.
Oh, 4 million.
I misspoke. Thank you, Courtney. Thank you very much.
But still, if there's 800 of it, it's coming from this one.
That's a huge piece of it.
Right. Yeah. So I wonder why they're not. I mean, I'm sure the selectmen kept saying, well, you got to talk to COG about that.
No, we didn't. Nobody really even knew about this grant until I started poking around in December, and I started reporting out. And it's only been since Chaz and I have been talking about it that anyone in town, the BOS didn't even know we had it.
Okay.
This isn't good.
I think that we have had our discussion on that. How about 3.2?
Yeah, but I still think you should maybe, I'm not a voting member, but should there be a motion to get COG involved to come to a meeting?
They've been at
We had
meetings.
whatever the director, COG, and the Board of Selectmen. I was there. Lori, were you?
I might have been.
Well, you would remember if you were there.
Yeah.
There was just no action. We're inquiring about this. It comes back that the Housing Authority is not involved in it, or the Affordable Housing Trust is not involved in it, but we are involved in it because if they are doing, this also, the CBDG also has renovations it has that affordability so that some people will have to report that it came from housing funds for that. So we are involved in it indirectly, and the monies that is going through is part of the other people that we are working through the Affordable Housing Trust. And that's why we had set up the Housing Trust, to be able to work through these types of things financially. And we're not being heard. So that's...
Well, maybe I'll just do some outside digging around and just poke a few people, see what I can find out.
I would appreciate that.
Source that, to manage, perhaps you can find out how they're doing with the funds that were allocated to them.
Okay.
Okay, next is the Worthy Fund update,
nothing to
Joan.
People would notify somebody in town hall that they were in, or 3 people really. They make a decision on what they can do to help out that individual, and they release the funds to the individual. And we were. This is all part of the working with the selectmen to have a process to have somebody in town hall look at that. Is this a worthy fund? Then direct them to worthy fund. Is this something that we can do for fuel assistance? Direct them to fuel assistance, or is this a housing issue?
I mean, it seems like there should be something on the town's website page because if I wasn't sitting here and I lived in Townsend, I don't think I would know any of this. And I'm wondering if there's a lot of needy people out there that check the website, say, is there anything out there for me? And nothing shows up.
Agreed.
I would think both of those things should be heavily
We have suggested that. We have suggested that.
Well,
they don't want to do
it's
that?
not that they don't want to. I think it's just that there's nobody there to help us to get it done.
Right, but even if I would think Community Opportunity Group has some kind of like statement or press or whatever, something that they use to explain their purpose, that if you cut and pasted it onto the town's website with contact numbers and stuff like that, and the same for the Worthy. I mean, the Worthy one is money that is really governed by the town.
Yeah.
Right. So that should be even easier. I know, you might want to talk to about that. Because Groton has something similar to that called the Groton Trust Funds. And it's run by a woman by the name of Karen Toomey, Tuomi. And it's, fairly well sort of published what they do so people know about it. But and they have an office at Town Hall that they keep an office there. So and usually it's for emergency needs, same kind of thing. I mean, on a few occasions, I think they've paid people's mortgages and things like that, but they don't like to do it so much for that, but they'll do it for other things like heat and things like that, I think.
And that's how the funds are set up here too.
Yeah. So, but there's literally a person at town hall you can go and meet with. And I would think the worthy trustees would, their names should probably be, out there, and maybe have an appointment set up for town hall if you need to. Because it's just so, I feel like right now too, like no matter how much you publish things and information and stuff, you still get people saying, well, how would I know? I feel like you gotta like publish the daylights out of whatever you're trying to do, or you won't get it anywhere.
To the donor of these funds wanted this to be a private thing. So if somebody needed it, they didn't want 5 or 6 or 10 people knowing that they did.
Which that is still the case with the Groton trust funds. It's just that the go and access them is well published. No one knows who gets them, but
Yep.
Madam Chair, I realize that we were going to put a COVID CARES relief funds update in this agenda.
Yeah, but it didn't get there, and I'm fine with an update from you if everyone else is.
Yes, that's okay?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
All right. So Sheila, our grant manager for the COVID CARES, the CVRF money is community
not community opportunities.
CMHA.
That's good.
Chaz, help me out. What's CMHA?
Central Massachusetts
Mass Housing Authority. Thank you. Okay, so as of today, we have 5 approved applications, and the average payout is $27.51. We had capped we have 100,000. Maybe we have a soft hold on another 20,000 from the town funds, but we had capped the maximum payout at 4,000. 4 have been denied at this point. 2 were over income. 1 had a very high average amount, and 1 was already receiving benefits from RCAP solutions. And they have 6 pending or processing. They're waiting to receive some documents back from those pendings. And in the wings, there are 19 other applications that are incomplete, and they're waiting for required documents. So that's,
of the 5 that were approved, has that money been released to those 5 applicants?
well, it says of those who have been approved, the average payout is $2,751. Now, they didn't say that they have paid them. I've had difficulty getting information from them, and I have gone to town hall and checked my mailbox regularly to see if I have a bill from them, which will really tell the story, and I still don't see a bill. So I'm assuming I don't know.
Right, we can't assume anything.
I don't understand. So does Central Mass, is this type of thing you can't just do in the town? You have to go through one of these organizations?
Yep. You need a third party.
But Sheila, there is a tremendous dearth of grant administrators out there. Like, that's what I've found out. They don't exist.
I'm sure.
It's because, the grants come and the grants go, so that everybody can't staff up and
Except for now,
down.
there's just so much different grant money coming in.
Right.
I know. Well, that's like, I was in a meeting, a phone conference meeting with the governor a couple of weeks ago, and he was talking about the schools, and he said, if you add all of the money that they're getting, both federal and state, extra because of COVID, it is 19% more than they would have gotten before.
So what are they doing with the money?
I know. And so, well, and where is and that's the hard thing. And I had asked one of the researchers in the Republican leader's office to try to figure out where we come up with an additional 19%. because the towns don't know it, the school districts don't know it. Where is it coming from? You know, and I think it's tied up in these grant programs and no one knows how to access it. And which I would think that's the job of grant administrators too, is to make sure people know how to get the money. Otherwise it's sort of a waste. You're not administrating.
That is the most startling thing I have discovered, is that there's so much money out there and it is not trickling down out the bottom of the funnel. It's not.
No, and it's so the monies that they're holding though, that's from the Federal CARES Act. That's not state money then.
Correct.
Yeah.
The COVID relief, Joan.
Yeah. COVID relief.
It's really interesting that there's so much boasting about the grant money that's available, but then there's never a report of how much really gets to the needy people. So to say that you've allocated all this money and it never gets to anyone but the administrators, what are we doing?
Yeah, no, I know, other than paying a price. That's something, I actually have a call into the constituent services person for Markey about something else, but I'm going to ask him that. Like, is there a way to streamline that? Because the monies aren't coming out from those programs, obviously.
Right.
Right.
And it doesn't really do any good to say to people, oh, they've been allocated to get to people. But if they don't get there, what does it matter?
Yeah, and the biggest thing is that they are getting a letter of promise to pay, but a promise to pay and the greenbacks in the landlord's pocket are two different things.
Oh, I know.
Exactly. So
Parents have to pay their mortgages,
That's exactly right.
Welcome.
thank you, Joan. Appreciate that update on all three of those. 3.3, Chaz?
Okay, so as far as the Warrant article is concerned, again, we are all set with that to ask the town to vote at town meeting to reallocate the $35,000 that we had received for the
Feasibility study.
There you go. For the feasibility study, and to use those funds to hire someone to be able to help us write the 2020 housing production plan. Courtney, where do we stand with the people that we had contacted in regards to that?
So Jody sent out a kind of little update to them, basically saying, that we were waiting for funds right now, and thank you for this.
Good.
So we've given them a little update, and it sounds like we got a couple of responses back that were positive in thanking us for at least giving them an update. So, which I think is always helpful as someone coming from an industry where you spend a lot of time on proposals to get a type of at least acknowledgement of your work. So,
Good. And that came from the town?
yeah, it came from Jody, I guess. So I had her send those through.
From our board,
Or-
because we had put out that RFP, Sheila.
Okay.
Thank you, Chaz. And next our agenda is 3.4 is the newly adopted state law regarding tenant seat members to local housing authorities. So I don't know if the rest of you got to read the document that was quite lengthy. And although I didn't read every word, I definitely read the timeline and what they were spelling out to be the process. What's interesting is that this tenancy was created 3 years ago.
Yes.
Because Betty Ann was still on with us, and we had her filling that seat until she resigned. And what I see this only as is a document where they put the process now into law as of January of this year, and they're giving you a timeline. The only and Chaz, if you can answer, or maybe Sheila. The only thing I see is that although we did outreach to the 3 complexes, and I know that we did that because I did them, and then plus put on social media a flyer to that effect. We've been doing that since they mandated that seat. They took it away as an elected position and then mandated it as a state-appointed tenant seat. We have been doing all of this. However, this makes me think we have to write a letter to everyone who resides in an affordable housing unit. So in Townsend, that would be all the residents of Atwood Acres, Townsend Woods, and Turnpike Village. Mm-hmm. We don't really have any others. So that to me would mean administrative, and that the housing authority would need to, and is Jody still with us? It would mean that Jody would need to make sure that that mailing got done. We would have to have funds to mail out to all those people. Is that doable for us, Jody? Jody is there.
I guess we'd have to look at what, I know the budget doesn't get touched much. I just have to, I guess, price it out and make sure we have the funds. Mm. Okay. And then what are you looking for? Just a generic letter, 50 cents in the mail template thing?
We're looking at, yes, template, generic, dear tenant.
They have mailboxes in those facilities, though, that somebody could just put them in? No?
Well, first of all, they won't let us. Our CAP manages for HUD, Townsend Woods, and Atwood Acres. And
they are, let you put something in the mailboxes?
We can't even put it on the bulletin board.
Yeah. You can't put anything on their bulletin board. You can't do like a door-to-door thing. And then Turnpike Village has, I thought they had a mail hub, but that might be their bus stop. But there's 41 units there. So you're looking at 125 pieces of mail. Mm-hmm. Okay. But you're also looking at, or do you get the person's name? I mean, this is the state thing. How do we have to comply?
Well, there's a couple of more nitty gritties on that too. I mean, they don't want us to call it a tenant member seat. My thoughts were, because in my notes I said that we'll need to repost this opening as a member seat, but we can't call it a tenant member.
Where is that? Because they constantly refer to it as a tenant board member.
They do, but we're not supposed to advertise it as such.
Where did I miss that, Jazz?
If you want to send, could you email that to me, Laura? I'll ask my aide to get a hold of someone from housing, because you can't be the first ones that have had that issue.
I believe, when I forwarded the Zoom meeting, it also had all the attachments for tonight's meeting.
Okay, good.
I believe it's there. Okay. And it's called Department of Housing and Community Development. That's the title heading. And then it says to local housing authorities and officials of Massachusetts towns. And it's from the Division of Public Housing. And the subject is changes pertaining to town appointed tenant board members.
I'll copy that and get that to Lauren tomorrow and ask her to make some inquiries.
So if I looked on the state, the new what was written, Lori, and it says specifically on there that on the town site, we can't say that it's a tenant member.
So what, I'm confused with that.
We can't,
Why?
because it's
Discriminatory?
yeah, well, it's saying that a person is in affordable housing in the town.
Oh,
No, Sheila, could you please look into what our actual process is supposed to be? If they could get us, what do we need to do to not get into trouble?
okay. I'll find that out.
Because this has been like this for years. It's been called this for years, and nobody has told us otherwise, because we followed their original mandate when they took away the elected position. Is there the enactment date, the effective date, the deadline for determining the seat, 60 days thereafter, and then by the time you get to the appointment, it's only good for 60 days. You have to read this.
And the
It has to be a government entity that came up with this and got paid muku bucks.
Make it more confusing.
Absolutely. So, I mean, it was bad enough that we had, because when I might have seen something like that, Chaz, because what I thought of when I saw that was, oh, well, maybe if we can't get a tenant to fill the seat, they'll let us get somebody else who's interested in filling the seat.
Right.
But no, that's not what it is.
This is General Law, Chapter 121B, subsection 1, under definition says, the definition of tenant member has been broadened from a member of the Board of the Housing Authority who is directly assisted by that housing authority pursuant to this chapter. That's what it was, and this is what it is now. A member of the Board of a housing authority who is a tenant who has signed a lease for a public housing unit owned and operated by the housing authority, a tenant in a public housing unit owned and operated on behalf of a housing authority, a participant in a rental assistance program administered by a local housing authority, or an adult over the age of 18 years old who is authorized to reside in the unit of another pursuant to clause. And it gives you what the clauses are.
I did read that. So, but you can't call it a tenant.
They said, no, not from what I was reading. And I'm reading this from Adam's stuff.
Oh yeah, I got that one too. And I think you will have that too. That's this one. Mine's not in color, but.
Yes.
Okay. So, and that's what I mean. I'm not. Bad enough.
Because you haven't had a tenant member, not to use the word, but for like 3 years, right?
Yeah, it was, Betty Ann was the last one that we had because we could get no one else, not for lack of trying either, who wanted to serve. And in particular, we couldn't get anyone from Townsend Woods or Atwood Acres, which is where they have come from before, basically because of our cap.
Yeah.
Our doesn't want them on it.
No, I had a conversation with town council, Sheila, in regards to this about a year ago. And we were pursuing the avenue through DHCD to get a waiver so that we can just place the seat. With this new legislation, we have to get a waiver on a yearly basis if it's not somebody who resides in affordable housing.
Right. And they're only good for 60 days. So here we are, a volunteer board, having to go through this process to satisfy some piece of legislation that means nothing, ends up meaning nothing.
And this is Massachusetts legislation.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's just a bunch of words that are going to cause a great deal of time-consuming effort that will that will get you nothing.
I'm guessing that in the power seat of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, which is the metropolitan Boston area, if you put this out in like Somerville or Cambridge, you have millions of people that want to take the spot. So they probably never anticipated you'd be in an area that you can't get anyone to do it.
Yep.
We can't be the only ones.
Even Fitchburg. I've reached out to Fitchburg Housing Authority, and they don't have a tenant member.
Really?
So.
Okay.
No, but think about it too. What the terminology that you're using, you have these requirements, but you can't call it what it is.
Unless the person, I clarified it, unless the person agrees that it's okay that you can say tenant member on the website.
But when you're advertising for it, the person has to be a tenant to apply. So how do you advertise for something that you would have other people call and then they own their own home?
Again, not calling it a tenant member, when I went through the definition, it's the longer version is what we're supposed to put on the notice, not tenant member. A member of the Board of Housing Authority who is directly assisted by that.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I'm going to entertain a motion to have a longer version of what Chaz just read. That's part of that legislation to be immediately posted on the Housing Authority website of the town website. We have a vacancy.
We do, but my concern is that I don't have a problem writing the posting up for Jody, but I would feel that we'd need to run it by Adam before we post it.
And that's fine, but I think if you follow his instructions, it might work.
Oh, I agree with you there, but I want to run it.
I don't have a problem with.
Well, what do they do if you don't have it? Like, I mean, it just seems like because you haven't had one, like, what's the penalty?
Well, okay. The problem is that they've now put a piece of legislation into law, I guess, that has a timeline. So I'm attempting to follow the timeline that the Housing Authority is supposed to follow. And that is the letters that have to be gone out and the posting on the website. So, and Adam has already sent us something, and I'm okay with Chaz writing up something and sending it over to Adam to approve for us to put on our website, to follow this legislation so that the Housing Authority does not get in trouble with the state.
Okay.
But that's where I'm coming from after reading this.
Yep.
It's like I said, it's just something else that we as volunteers have to make sure gets done now because of this piece of legislation. Like for 3 years, they didn't bother us. We didn't have anybody, but now they have a law in effect in reference to it. The first time they just took it away and said, go do this, but they didn't tell us how to do it.
Right.
Now they've told us how to do it.
Right.
So even though we decided on our own to do the outreach and didn't get anywhere, and we did the social media and we did the website, it now is wrong. We now have to do it their way.
Yeah.
Wow. Because it seems like you'd almost have to, like, you know, really recruit with a target in mind, like someone you might know might be willing.
Yeah. Well, I tried. I did. I tried calling a few people at Atwood and Townsend Wood. And then I knew the owner of Turnpike Village, so I tried with that. I actually sent, Chaz, you did a flyer. And I sent, the flyer was on social media, and it was also sent to Turnpike Village.
Yep. Well, Sheila, in the perfect world is that we would be working with our managing partner, and we should be able to go into Townsend Woods and have a monthly or quarterly meeting with our residents of the town as the housing authority. Those types of meetings, we did have the way both these buildings were set up. I'm going to get on my high horse again, Lori. There was a trust set up, and a Townsend Affordable Senior Trust. I forget what the name of it was.
Board.
Yes.
And we had
Lori was on the board, and Lori would go in when we had these meetings, and the housing authority had a voice with RCAP Solutions to be able to, is there something going on? What can we do to help you out? And that all of communications have been cut out in regards to that. And I think that both of those organizations were dissolved because I don't know of anybody of any officers on either one of those, the senior housing trust that was set up, and the Townsend Woods Senior Housing, I think was the name of the other one.
So those two boards have not met since I want to say the end, it was October of 2017 was the last time they met. They were guided by their incorporation, whatever, document, and it said to meet I think it was September. We ended up meeting in October that year because they were changing somebody and he couldn't make that meeting. So it was the following meeting. I was there. Kathy was still there. And we the board gave instructions to RCAP about certain reporting, and their tenant person was there to speak for all the tenants, and they never met again. And I know someone who was on the Townsend, the Atwood Acres building, who was on that board. And she said that they were getting the same runaround. And when I spoke to her about a year later, they hadn't met either. So I don't know that HUD even knows what they're doing. But I know that there's still a lot of unhappy people there.
Oh, I get the calls. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now we tried to be able to, as a housing authority, go in and talk with RCAP. They in turn, and actually, Sheila, I think I sent you that document. I copied it digitally. They sent a letter back to the town administrator saying that the housing authority has nothing to do with anything with either of these two buildings, that in the paperwork that we have signed off everything and it's completely RCAP's property and RCAP is running it and we have no voice at all.
I have to say, a few years back, I had been asked to become a board member for the Groton housing that RCAP runs. And when I realized it was RCAP and based on the issues I was hearing from the people at Townsend Woods, especially at that point, that I said I could not serve on the board anymore because I have to work for the constituents and they're having issues. And they were like what? And I'm thinking, I was just surprised that there wasn't some sort of already like system in place to work with RCAP with complaints of the people that are in the housing. I mean, I crazy things like not letting them go outside and stuff I'd never heard of. Pushing them, hitting them. There was some worse things.
Yeah, there's people there that are in fear of losing their apartment because of the waiting list. So they're basically like in prison.
Right.
Some have said, and that is very disheartening to members of the Housing Authority who worked for years to try to have a building that people would love and appreciate to live in, and then hear how horrible it is, you know?
Yeah. No, I know there was a big.
Why we do this?
They weren't letting people go outside at all, onto the decks and stuff.
Yeah.
And then
Some of it.
there were issues with, bullying and
Yeah.
trying to keep people quiet and physical.
And when we have
so-
gone into, well, I'll speak for myself. I have actually tried to talk with the manager of the buildings, and nope. They'll say, I'll give you a call back when I look at my schedule, and I never get a call back. And
Who is, there's got to be somebody from the town, though, like the way I was asked to do it in Groton. There's got to be somebody, there's got to be like board members from the town,
Meeting,
correct?
Sheila. They have not met since that October meeting in 2017.
But do you know who the board members are from Townsend?
Yeah, sure. I do.
That's who we.
They haven't met.
No, but maybe they need to, kind of step it up.
I don't think that there was anybody.
Is there anybody? I hate to say it this way, but is there anybody left?
I know some of the people were not from. That was another issue. There were people that were, from what I understood, there were people that were on the board who no longer lived. Not only did they not live in Townsend, but not even in the state.
Correct. And that person was on both boards, Townsend Woods and.
Right. And then they were saying, why is this person controlling it? They're not even here.
Yeah, well, right. And that's the only person that had any pull with our cap, but kind of just went along with whatever they wanted.
Right.
Anyway.
Could they even really be on it though if they don't even live in the state?
I don't think there was
No,
provision.
I don't think they could have done what they were doing anyway. But
The articles of incorporation that I put in the paperwork that I sent you, Sheila, there's
You don't do that.
there's no specificity to where you live.
Okay, I just thought they usually, just based on the Groton one, it was all
but
Groton.
he had relatives living there, so they let him on both boards. And he also worked for our cap at one time. Yeah. So there's a lot of history there. But anyway, no meeting since then. So, okay. So that we were in the middle of, I was going to entertain a motion. Somebody remember what I said?
You
You're entertaining a motion to change the definition of tenant member on the website to the longer tenant member definition that was given to us. And I could read it all again, but I think you know what I mean.
Not using the word tenant member. Chaz is going to list the seeking qualifications of the additional board member seat, state appointed seat, the state appointed seat. And run that by Adam for his approval to be posted on the website of the Housing Authority on the Townsend website.
And you're going to have to take it off your minutes where you call it tenant seat.
Right, it can't be.
I don't know how you're going to fit that definition up here, though, because that's going to take a little space.
Chaz will work it out. He's my little miracle worker.
You're going to have to use a much, much smaller font.
right.
Well, we may have to take up a whole block
Yeah.
on the website, but
And put like a guess who this is bubble.
we can't call it what it is.
I know. I just think it's funny that it just seems hard to imagine that you have to put so much.
Maybe we can make a symbol like Prince or something.
I don't
Anyway, be approved by Adam for publishing. Okay. Was there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, I will take a roll call vote.
Natalie Call, yes. Aye.
Courtney Kelly, aye.
Chaz Sexton Durrani and I.
And Laura Schifrin, aye. It's unanimous. Thank you. I have a headache after that one. 3.5.
It's the history. We always have to go through.
Yeah.
Right? No. Natalie.
Natalie.
Correspondence.
Open Space Committee member and all of that stuff.
Do you have it? Jody?
I sent it. I sent it twice. I think I was having issues, Natalie, with some of your email because you changed your email.
I had to, yeah. I had to.
I thought I sent it to the right one.
All right.
I sent it to you as well, Chaz. You got this?
I have it. We have, there's an opening. Actually, I have it electronic. I have a note saying electronically. There is the Open Space Committee that is looking to fill several different positions. If I can find it here.
Well, this says for an at-large position.
Yeah.
Does it have to be, does the housing authority have to?
You know what, you guys, I may have to duck out because I have all these people that have said, I said I'll call back and I don't want to call too late. So
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
I've always been talking to you call after 9. So
Oh, okay. Bye, Sheila.
my parents said anyway.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks. I will touch base with you on. I'll get that to Lauren to try to see. I mean, you can't be the only ones that are having that issue on that.
Right.
Tenant. I don't want to say it, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Thank you.
We'll talk soon. Okay. Thanks, everybody.
All right. Bye, Sheila.
Bye.
The Open Space and Recreation Committee is looking for 3 members at Citizen at Large. These are appointed annually by the Board of Selectmen. The Open Space and Recreation Committee, every 5 years, they have a report that's submitted. The report currently is really still valid now. It just needs members looking it over and verifying so that they can resubmit it for approval. But it is quite a comprehensive document, and that's what they're looking for with that. There's also openings on the Capital Planning Committee. There's openings on the Town of Townsend Affordable Housing Trust. There's openings that are on, there's an associate member on the Planning Board. There's openings on the town properties, from what I understand, Lori, right?
Yeah, there's still openings there.
Yep. So I guess the reason why I had asked Jody to put those on there is just, please get involved in your government. We definitely need your help. There's several different positions that are there. Some are very temporary work. You might have to work a month, maybe 6 weeks, 8 weeks, but then after that, not too much that needs to go on. But in order to support a lot of the good work that we're doing in other boards, we definitely need as many volunteers as possible. So for that, it would be going onto the town website to the town clerk's page, filling out a volunteer form and submitting it either over the internet, or even if you call, they'll be able to mail out. If you call the clerk's office, they can mail you an application. You can fill it out and mail it back in. And I think that's it, Jody, right?
Yeah, I'm sorry, Natalie. I'm not sure what I did. I feel like I sent you a bunch of stuff. I thought you got it.
No,
Clearly not.
No,
Sorry
no.
about that.
I have a family thing going on, so I haven't been checking that much. Sorry. No, my mistake.
Okay.
I have an emergent situation at home, so.
Alrighty. Okay, well,
Bills, right?
thanks for doing that, Chaz.
Yeah.
And hopefully we'll have some people stepping forward upon this next election too. Do we still not have an election date?
April, right?
Oh, I'm not sure. They didn't mention it. I don't know.
April?
There's
I know
nothing on the
April, but-
website.
Nothing yet. Okay. All right. 3.6. Review and sign bills, payable warrant. The only thing that's come to my attention is a bill for our annual dues with Mass NAHRO, which I do not know the acronym for. But it's for $173. It's an annual dues that we have for Housing Authority, and we are billed at the lowest rate because we are under 100 units. So I'll entertain a motion to have that bill submitted for payment by Jody.
So moved.
Okay, is there a second?
Second, please.
Any further discussion or questions regarding the invoice?
May we take off the name that's listed on there when we submit?
Oh,
that bill?
yes. I actually emailed a contact over there to try to update. So once I get this processed, I will reach out again and
Okay,
hopefully fix that.
Okay.
yeah, I meant to mention that too.
Okay.
Thanks, Chaz.
Yep.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll entertain your vote. Roll call.
Natalie Cole, aye.
Courtney Briley, aye.
Chaz Sexton, Rainey and I.
Laura Schifrin, aye. The vote is
Sorry.
unanimous. So hopefully the accountant will get to see this vote taken by the full board to pay the bill.
Oh, and do we need to amend that to and authorize the chair to sign for the board?
We can do that. Friendly amendment to all? It's good? Okay. I will do that if she is agreeable with just my signature. That will be fine.
Okay.
Okay, let's go on to approve the meeting minutes that were also emailed to us. I didn't print them off, but I did see them. So there's 3 sets that came.
Yep. Jody, correct me if I'm wrong now. We are now completely up to date on everything, right? With these approval.
I think I'm missing one, but it's like the last meeting you guys had in January with the Board of Selectmen.
It's a
Joint?
Yeah.
Yes, the joint meeting. I didn't finish that because I forgot about it. And when I went in to update my minutes, I said, oh, no, but it was kind of too late to, I'll get them though. By next meeting, they'll be good.
I mean, as far as I'm concerned, we're up to date. Considering we've been behind the 8 ball for, it seems like forever, Lori, huh?
Yeah, right. We are really up to date.
Yeah.
So, somebody,
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for Thursday, July 25th, 2019.
and there's a second. Any further discussion on the July 2020 minutes? Hearing none, I'll take a roll call vote.
Natalie Cole, aye.
Courtney Briley, aye.
Chaz Sexton, Durrani, and I.
Laura Schifrin, aye. Next one.
Is I make a motion. Well, do you want to do changes first, Lori, on that? This is the January 21st, 2020.
Oh, that's wrong. That should be January 21.
That's my first one.
Okay.
And then Jody, under 1.6,
Yes.
it says when it is the third sentence down, when C,
Oh, yep, I see you.
okay. And that's all I got on that one.
Okay. So with those minor amendments, which Jody has already made note of, is there a second to the motion to approve?
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll take a roll call vote.
Natalie Call I.
Courtney Briley, aye.
Chaz Sexton Durrani and I.
Laura Schifrin, aye. Thank you. And there's a third one? Is there a third one?
Well, yes and no. Wait, let me see where I'm at. That was an agenda. I had meeting minutes for February 26, 2019. And I sent it to you guys, and it was an agenda because I didn't open it before I sent it. So I've still got to try to find that set. But that was a joint budget meeting. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the agenda for the joint budget that we had.
Yeah. So I've just got to figure that one out.
Okay.
So disregard.
But this too. Okay.
And just a kind of a question, Laurie, if this was a joint meeting that I went in front of the Board of Selectmen to submit our budget, wasn't it, Jody? It was something simple.
Yes.
Can't we just reference the Board of Selectmen meeting in that?
Maybe just, if it was a posted agenda for a joint meeting on our behalf, I would just do the minutes for just like anything else, but it's only gonna represent the agenda of the joint part that we have. Okay, Jody?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. And then all you're going to do is just mark that whatever time it was and the motion that was made, and that's it.
Yeah, it should be pretty easy. And I'd try to get Chaz to answer you. I've asked the clerks many times, many different ways to see if I work around for joint meetings. And they always tell me, no, you have to write your own meeting minutes.
Yeah.
So
You do. So, and that's
not
not
bad.
So, okay. Next meeting. Do you want to stay with a Wednesday? I noticed we're Wednesday instead of Thursday.
Yes, Thursdays with my new position, I am late, so I won't be able to do Thursdays.
Okay, so I can offer you March 24th.
Okay.
Does that work?
That
I'm
works.
okay with that.
I'm okay with that.
Okay, then March 24th at 7 p.m.
Okay.
Yes?
Oh,
Does that work for you, Hartley?
okay. Oh, yeah.
I can do the 17th.
I got St. Patrick's Day at the V. Dinner.
Oh, I thought everybody had St. Patrick's.
Yeah, I'll be at the V for St. Patrick's Day.
I can't do the 31st because I've already got a meeting that night.
It's fine. Okay, what else is left?
What about, do you guys want to do a Friday?
Yeah, Friday works.
Is everybody good with that?
Yeah.
Courtney, you're so quiet tonight.
I can't commit to how alive I'll be, but I can do it.
Oh,
The 26th?
Yeah.
I might be able to squeeze by. I've got dinner at the VFW on Fridays from
Every
5
Friday?
to 7. Every Friday. Sorry.
From 5 to 6, so that's not going to help.
Yeah, 5 to 7 at the V on Fridays.
Yeah.
We have dinner. We're doing Friday night dinners there at the V.
Well, the
yeah.
25th, we couldn't. Master plan is got a
It's
7:15 meeting on Thursday, the 25th.
I'm going to go
March
with,
The 18th. I'll see if I can do a Thursday. I'll do it from work.
no, how about 7:30 on the 26th?
Okay, 7:30 I can get out. Yes, 7:30. Got it. Okay. That
Okay.
works. I'll work it. Yep. Peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
Courtney, I'll bring you a Starbucks, okay?
All right, guys, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting at 8:40 PM.
I make a motion to adjourn.
So second,
Second.
any discussion? Nope. Okay, roll call vote.
Natalie Call aye.
Courtney Briley, aye.
Chaz Sexton-Durrani and I.
And Laura Schiffer and I. Thank you so much, Hartley and Jody.
Thank you, Jody. Aye.
Okay, good. Hopefully Comcast has to give you guys a credit.
Right.
Okay?
Hartley, when you guys bowed out, Jody took over as host and she recorded, so it's in the cloud.
No, it's on her computer.
Uh-oh.
Yes, sir. I would like that very much. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
Hey, Court.
Now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.